Hi everyone, it's Cindy from Cindy's Art. Thank you for joining me today for this watercolor bookmark painting. And you know that we use Arch's watercolor paper and Holbein watercolor paints. And I want to thank all of you who are a part of YouTube or a part of the Patreon channel that I have that help support this channel. So thank you for joining me today. I took a 5 by 5 inch paper of Arches, and I taped it off with washi tape, split it up evenly so that way I could have smaller bookmarks. I love bookmarks, guys, can you tell? So anyway, I wet the bottom part of the paper because I am simply loosely laying down some cerulean blue and then also some indigo blue in order to create the water part of the painting. So I'm keeping it very light, very simple. This is where I'm sketching out the concept, sketching out the idea. And then even while that's going to dry, there's some ultramarine blue I just threw in there. As I'm letting that portion dry, I'm going to move up to the grass line. And I'm using a little bit of yellow mixed in with mineral green, and then I'm moving into more of a sap green, nice light colors. So I'm going to sketch in the grass a little bit here and then we'll move on. Watercolor artists work from light to dark. They protect the light. So I'm only working on the bottom third of this paper, and I laid in my light colors first, and then I put in some of my dark tones, the greens, because I want to be able to see where I'm defining this picture. Where are some of the darker shades of grass, and that's way back there and it's very dark. So I'm just going to sketch that in. At no point do I allow this green to touch that blue, because I just put that blue down and I do not want them to bleed into one another. So by this time my art room is very dry, so that blue is already dried up. So I'm just going to continue to add in my greens, and this is all wet on wet. You can see how soft it is. What's great about wet on wet is if you want to create a soft look, when you're using your wet on wet, wet paper, wet paint, wet brush, and I'm dabbing paint in there, it's going to bleed and move into some of the other colors. So as I'm approaching the top part of this horizon line, I am not using a lot of wet on wet up there. That actually is a little bit more drier, and the reason why is I want some definition up there. I'm going to show you another technique for creating clouds. I just wet the top of my paper with a little bit of verditer blue and then ultramarine deep. And the top part was wet, but not this mid part where I'm painting right now. What I'm doing is sketching out clouds, and I'm letting some of the paint run and some of it is wet on dry. So once I've got that sketched in there, I've got nothing but water on this brush right now. And what I'm doing is touching that in just barely into where that paint is, and it's going to cause it to soften up, which clouds are soft, they don't have hard edges. And then I'm going to use a little bit, I've got a Veritature blue. I love Veritature blue. There's a lot of neat things that it does on paper. And I'm just touching that in there, creating some of the light, the dark of the clouds, softening it up, moving it around. And the trick is to play with it. I don't have a concept in mind as far as how these clouds need to look. This is my time, honestly, to be playing with colors. Now this has got a little bit of a marine blue along with the Veritature blue. I really like that look. So I'm going to continue to develop these clouds, and you can see right there, I put a very strong drop of watercolor color right smack in the middle of that cloud, and now I'm rotating it. Why am I doing that? I want the color to spread softly, but I want it to stay in place. And rotating the paper like that actually will keep it more in place, and it will still allow it to blend softly. If I tilted it in one direction, that water would just run. It would not stay in place. So clouds are a lot of fun to play with, and if you make a mistake, you could take a paper towel, wet it, don't have it sopping wet, just wet it, twist it up and dab it into your clouds, and what it'll do is lift up some of those mistakes that you feel like you made. You can always take a squirt bottle, turn your paper upside down, squirt that sky down, and it'll almost wash everything out. Let it dry, try again. So anyway, this is one technique of creating a sky. And all I've been doing is playing with water and playing with color. This next phase, all I'm going to do is dab some water down along the horizon line because I want to put trees in there. And the way that I'm going to do that, you can see I'm just dabbing a little bit of watercolor paint at the bottom part of where I put that water. Why? Because it's going to spread upward. Whenever I put paint on an area, if there's already water down in there, it's going to bleed into it. And I play with this by adding in some vibrant greens like a sap green. I might try a leaf green. I'll add Aurelian yellow, and one of my favorites is to add in permanent yellow orange. It's one of my favorite colors, and it just hits it right. It's vibrant. It looks really cool. So play with your colors. You can play with another sheet of paper and try different colors out, see what you like. And just do it until you feel like you've got it where you like it, and put it on the paper, on the painting. And right here, I feel like I've got the greens that I want at the top, so I'm just adding in a few dabs of dark green in the very bottom, and that bleeds up there and it gives a shadow to the trees. This is a flat brush, or actually it's called a chisel brush. It's very stiff, and dabbing that into a little bit of water, I can go back into my clouds, which are already dried, and I can lift up some color, softening it up. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm making the clouds a little softer. So another trick that you can try. After I've played with my sky, you're going to see me use my chisel brush and draw a few lines inside of the field in the very background. And all I'm doing is trying to create a little bit more of a highlight. And then I'm actually coming to the very end of this painting because I didn't need to do much more. At the end here, you're going to see how I used a micron pen to add a few details in, and that is it. Ready to cut, ready to give away. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you the next time. Here's a few more videos that you can take a look at if you want to keep on painting today. You guys take care. We'll see you next time.